Okay, so we are going to animate the Dribble logo. We are on the originals page in the logos.sketch file, and here's our artboard. Now, we don't have an extra page for this because we're going to do some animating that doesn't require, well, that requires some features that are only in Flow. So we don't need to start in boards. Okay, let's just jump into Flow. We're going to create a new project. We're going to link our sketch file, logos.sketch. We're going to hit enter. We are going to go down to the originals page. We're going to drag in Dribble. We're going to hit add. We're going to make our screen larger. We're going to press Command 1 to center things. We're going to rename this to Dribble iOS because we're going to do the iOS version first. We're going to save it. Dribble logo.flow. And we're good to go. Okay, so first things first, what we want to do is we're going to animate these so that the effect is that they all these lines sort of come in and rotate at the same time. We're going to first select all our shapes. We're going to hit Command Option R to turn on relative mode, or we could toggle it on here. Toggle it on. We're going to change the line caps to round. Now when we do that, you notice these little edges, they stick out a little bit, like the vertical one there. So we're going to go like this. We're going to press Option Shift, and we're going to just scale that up a little bit to 196. Great. So that looks good. It's 196, 196. We can't see that little end bit. And now we'll do our animations. First thing we're going to do is we're going to align the ends of the shape. So this is actually supposed to draw upwards like this, and then look like it's coming that way. That means that the beginning of the drawing, the end of the drawing of the vertical line has to align with the beginning of the drawing of the circle. So the circle is going to be the thing that we rotate into place. We're going to go 0.25 just to give us an inkling of where and how to rotate this thing. We're going to say right here, we're going to do some rotation like this, like this. Okay, we're going to go minus until it's in place, and there we go. Those look like they're drawing together nicely. Great. That's minus 22. We're going to set this back to 1. Now we're going to have that. Next thing we want to do is we want to select all of these guys. And we're going to change all of these guys except for vertical. So we want these 3. And they're going to be at 0. Why? So they draw in that way. That's the direction that we want all 3 of those to draw. Perfect. Now, vertical is different. We're going to set that to 1. The start point to 1 because of the way that it was drawn in Sketch. So in Sketch, it was probably drawn, if the start is over here, it was drawn downwards. And so we have to animate it backwards. Okay. That looks good. Now we have all our animations. I'm going to press Option and open them all up. Grab these guys, change their endpoints to 0.25, and then drag him out. I'm pressing Shift and clicking to select all of the key values in a particular row. And then I'm Shift clicking to continue adding them. I'm going to move this so it ends at 1. I'm going to select everything, pressing Command A, and I'm going to distribute them. So now we have that animation comes up, goes like this, comes around, like that. All right, so now let's add a little bit of flair, tiny subtleties. We're going to ease this one out. And then this one we're going to ease in. Done. So it kind of like draws up and slows down and then draws in quickly. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab that whole thing. We're going to grab all of our layers. We're going to group them. You can press Command G or do it by right-clicking on all of those. We're going to call them logo. And at the beginning, we're going to come back here. I'm going to do a tiny bit of a rotation, 90 degrees. And now that's what our timeline looks like. If we play it, there you go. So now let's check this out in iOS. We're going to export to iOS. We're going to select our Dribble iOS timeline. We're going to open that folder. Go to iOS, Dribble iOS. Double click. let's run it in iPhone X, hit play. Here's the timeline, just if you want to have a look while we're waiting. There's the transforms, stroke start, stroke end, creation of everything. Let's go over to the simulator. It's spinning up. There we go. Wham. Done. Done. All right, let's move on to the HTML version of this. Okay, so let's do our Dribble logo animation like this, but for HTML. Okay, let's click plus to create a new timeline. Let's drag in Dribble and we'll hit add. Let's do Command Shift R. We're gonna select all these guys, and like before, we're gonna add that line cap. Okay, and this one should be 196. Great. Now, let's figure out what our dash patterns are going to be. So in here, let's go to Dribble. Let's turn off everything so we can just see the circle. And we'll give it a gap of 1,000 and I don't know, 10. And then we just keep going up. Looks good. Okay, so let's say 500. Let's go up a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gone. 585. Let's call that 590. Okay. We know that that one's 590. 0, 0. Go back here. Turn off. Just hover here. Turn off the top, the bottom, and vertical. Let's turn off the top. Focus on this guy. We do, let's try 590, 1,000. It's not quite the same. Let's do 595. Getting there. 605. Getting there. 610. 615. Let's just safely call it 620. Okay, so we the gap in flow is now 620. Let's go here and let's delete the animation. And then let's play with the offset. So over here, we want it to be fully drawn in, and at the beginning, not. So let's see, what direction do we need to go? -10? Nope, that's not the way we go. We go up. There we go, that's what we want. Okay, so this can probably now be 620. Good. And we'll get this animating in like that. Sweet. Okay, so let's leave the circle off. Let's do the bottom now. And do the same thing over here. Let's look at the bottom. That is, let's get a good sense of what that gap is. Let's call this 100. Ooh. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry. Should be selecting the bottom. Oh yeah, let's make that gap big. 100. Let's make it 1,000. 30. Somewhere between 180 and 190, so let's call it 190. Okay, so we are at T0. 190, 190. Turn relative mode off. Now, we want to animate from here. We want it to come from the left and go this way. So let's figure out which direction we should be drawing. Up, down, no, up. Again, we're going up. Perfect. 180, 190. There we go. So now this should draw in the way we want. Okay, so we can turn that off. Turn on the top. Probably the same stuff. Again, relative mode. Change this, 190, 190. Enter. And let's just say here is going to be 0. Turn off relative mode. I'm guessing this is going to be 190. And what do we see? Whoa! That's exactly what we want. Okay, last one. The vertical line, probably the same because it's a circle, etc. It's getting close. Let's set at here. Turn on relative mode. Go 190, 1000, 190. Okay, that looks good. Let's call this 190, 190. Oops. Oh, that's not quite this. That's not quite right. So let's say it's 195. Okay, that looks good. That's at 0, and we want that to go all the way to this point. Let's turn off the top line so we can focus. At this point, it should be drawn. So let's do this. That's not the way we want it to draw. This is the way we want it to draw. Okay. Just a little bit off like that. 394. And let's just see if that, oh, that animating should at the beginning be, that should be fine. Now let's turn everything on. We got those things like that. Boom. Okay, that is the direction for all the animating. And now what we need to do is we need to just sync these two things. So let's go like that. Let's grab that circle. And we're going to hit Command R. On that circle, we are going to rotate it this direction right to about there. Is that going to look right? And then we do some offsets. Simple like we did in the first step. Like this. Move it over. Move it over. Move that to 1. Select everything. Distribute. And there you go. That should work in HTML now. So now we go and we select all of those guys, or we select all of these guys. We group them. Name it logo. And we rotate it 90 degrees. Click. Then we have the animation. And we can go rename it. HTML, export, open that folder. And play it. Boom, done.